Hi, Randy. Can you introduce yourself? Let us know your age, your reason for seeking stem cell therapy. Where do you live? Tell us a little bit about yourself as an introduction.
Sure. My name's Randy Watson. I live in Gastonia, North Carolina, of the United States. Seek stem cell therapy because of the Parkinson's disease I've had. I've had it for about 6 years. It's gotten pretty bad the last couple of years. Done a lot of research. I mean, a lot. And talked to several people that had come to Panama, and they were very happy. So after about 3 or 4 months of really doing some digging in dirt and realized that we were going to give it a shot, and very glad we did.
That's good to hear. And tell me about your diagnosis. You said it happened 6 years ago. Was it
Thereabouts.
progressively getting worse? Where were you with the condition when you came to us? And tell us about the last 6 years since being diagnosed.
Well, the funny thing about it is I don't have a whole lot of shaking. I mean, I do from time to time, but it's not a great big issue with me. The issue is my body's rigidity and the balance, and it was progressively getting a lot worse. I got to where some days I'd have to have help getting out of bed, going to the restroom, or going to the living room, or family room, or whatever. It was difficult, very difficult, and it was just about to the point where I was about to give up, to be honest. And the treatment I've got down there has been phenomenal.
Okay. Have you ever tried any other therapies to help with the condition?
Only thing I've taken is some normal medicine that a neurologist would give you. I've not tried any other things.
No other therapies other than the conventional medicine prescribed by your physician at home.
That's correct.
Randy, where is it that you live?
Live in Gastonia, North Carolina,
North
out of
Carolina.
USA. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. So, and then what about your search for a stem cell therapy clinic? I know you mentioned that you heard some good things from friends that have been down to Panama. Did you go down the rabbit hole? Did you do some research and look around the different clinics? And what
Yeah,
kind
I
of
did.
ultimately led you to us?
Well, what led you to you? What led me to you is several of the people I talked to. I talked to a gentleman that's a pilot for U.S. Air, and he'd come to see you guys, and we were just talking. I told him, I said, I've got Parkinson, blah blah blah. I said, just be a little patient with me because sometimes my chain of thought's not like it was when I was healthier. And he said, man, you need to try this, and then it got me thinking about stuff, and then I heard a podcast by actually Joe Rogan. I'm big in UFC. I used to help run an organization out of Charlotte, North Carolina called Fit to Fight. And
Okay.
Fight Lab, excuse me, it's called Fight Lab, I'm sorry. And we used to put on cage fight organizations all over the Southeast. We'd go all over the Southeast putting on shows, and Joe was one of, he'd show up from time to time, and he made it very clear that he'd been there. And I think one of his best friends had been there, and one of his best friends' daddy had been there. He was like 90 years old when he had it done, and he lived to be 102, if I remember correctly. And he was doing better at the end than he was when he was 75.
Mel Gibson's father.
Yes, absolutely,
Correct.
absolutely. Yep,
Yes. He was on his deathbed and he did a treatment and lived an additional 10 years to
yep,
102. Correct.
yep. That's correct.
Okay. And then tell us about your experience flying down here logistically. How was that for you? The service, speaking to the advocate over the phone before you made the decision to come to Panama. How did that all work out for you?
Well, everything went fine. I mean, from the time I decided to go, and then we contacted your organization, and they actually arranged the flight and everything for me, and I actually brought my wife, and the road that the place where we stayed was right beside the clinic, so everything was great. I mean, when they picked us up when we landed at the airport, we had a nice young lady had an electrical sign that said Senor Randy Watson, and I said, that's me. She took me straight through customs, picked up my luggage, took me to the driver, and the driver brought us to the motel. Couldn't be any easier. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was marvelous. It really was.
That's amazing. Okay, and the hotel was good. The breakfast. Were you having
Yeah,
breakfast in the morning?
yeah. That's part of the Marriott Bonvoy, and I'm a elite member of them. Have been for years. Actually, my wife and I own an ownership in Cancun, and so we go there, one or twice a year, and we were fine.
So you're familiar with the autograph collection properties.
Yes,
You've heard of that before. Okay.
yes,
So the Sortis Hotel where you stayed, which is connected to the clinic, is a Marriott autograph collection property, which
that's
is a
correct.
five-star property. Yeah. Okay, great. So as far now regarding the treatment, I know. Can you tell us what the treatment was that you did with us?
Yeah, the first day we got there, if I remember correctly, first day was pretty much a travel day, and then there's a bunch of blood drawn from me to eventually do all the blood work, get all the results and all that stuff. And then the second day, if I remember correctly, we actually had an injection in my right hand. I think it was 75 million stem cells, and then had red light therapy, and then the oxygen chamber make sure you have enough oxygen in your system. And then the next day, which was the third day, we had an injection into my spinal cord, and that made a big difference because I think that was 10 million stem cells that went directly into my brain. And then the next day, they done the exact same thing on my left hand. They put in 75 million and went through stuff, but
An intravenous
eventually,
application.
yeah, it was IV. And then the one thing that made a big difference, they put the HND plus. The last day I was there, they put that in, and they put a fairly small amount. To me, it looked like a small amount into a fairly large IV, and it took about 2 hours to get into your system. But as the doctor told me, he said every cell in your body uses this, and it will make a difference, and it did. Made a big difference.
Incredible. How was the intrathecal injection, which was the spinal tap? How was that? Was that painful? Did you feel anything afterwards? How
Yeah,
long was that treatment?
yeah, it probably took about 45 minutes, maybe. To be honest with you, at my age, I'm 74 years old, and my body's pretty rigid. And I've always been an athlete my whole life. I've done 17 marathons, skydived, I've done martial arts, done cage fighting, the whole 9 yards. I've always been very active, and that's why they said my blood work turned out to be phenomenal. Said it's way above average, but it didn't really hurt. It took a second injection to get it to where they wanted to. First one they hit, and it wasn't a lot of room in there because over time your spinal it collapses a little bit. So he had to do it again, but it wasn't a big deal. With no
Okay.
lot of pain or anything of that nature. It just had to have the
It's a
right frame.
relatively quick procedure. It just sounds scary sometimes when patients hear it's a spinal tap into the spinal cord.
Yeah.
It is done
Well,
by an anesthesiologist who's
it
very
is.
well experienced.
Yes. He is. He was very professional. He even had my wife come back and say, "Look, this is what we're looking for." He even had my wife, and my wife's a little bit. She's not too too fond of seeing a lot of stuff, but she went back and he showed her exactly what was going on. When he saw the drip going on, he realized he's in the right place.
So they explained everything to you as it was
Uh,
happening.
yes, sir.
Okay, that's good to hear. And as far as while you were here, were you feeling any pain, any sort of effects from the IV infusion or the intrathecal injection, anything like that?
Yeah, actually, the first day he said, Randy, he said, you'll probably feel like you got the flu tonight. And I did. I felt a little bad that night. Second time he said, you might get a headache tonight. And I did. I got a headache. So it was very well explained. Nothing phenomenal. I didn't feel like I was going to jump off the end of the world or anything. It is what it is. I mean, and it's good to know the effects. You want to know these things to know what's causing it. So, yeah, it was very well explained.
Okay. Anything you want to add regarding the staff at the clinic itself, the facilities, or the medical staff? Anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, it was absolutely a phenomenal experience. I just, from the doctors to the staff, the nurses, etc., they all very, very professional. and I'm big on cleanliness. And that clinic was spotless. I've never been into a clinic that was any you could eat off the floor, as the old saying goes. It's very clean, and that's very much appreciated. So if you take care of the little things, the big things will be taken care of also. So
Correct.
I just feel
That's
like
a
I
good
do
way
good
of
work.
putting it. There you go. And thank you for noticing that. We do try to keep things as sterile and cleanliness is a huge factor in everything
It
here.
is.
We are a medical clinic, and all of our patients are really traveling from abroad, so we want to make sure everything is as sterile as possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And now going back home, everything went smoothly,
Yeah.
logistically. Um, how long has it been now since your treatment, Randy?
Been about 7 weeks, if I remember right, about somewhere around there. It's not been right at close to 2 months, but they said it would take 3 to 6 months for me to really feel a difference. But to be honest with you, David, I can feel the difference already. My balance is way better. I have not had, I mean, I still feel it from time to time. You know, Parkinson's not something you're going to get over. It's going to be with you for the rest of your life. But we want to manage the days we've got left to the best of our ability. And that's exactly what your organization has allowed me to do. Is the balance is good, the stiffness is good, all but my shoulders. I had double shoulder replacement, not all at one time, but I've had both shoulders replaced. And the doctor that did it is a phenomenal doctor. I don't have any pain from the surgery. It's just the rigidity of my body because of Parkinson makes it difficult. And that's one thing that I'll probably be contacting you for later on, is to see about coming back down, maybe getting injections in my shoulders, because if that works as good as everything else has worked, it'd be great. Because I've lifted weights for 20 plus years. My son and I do everything together. He'll be 45 next month, and he's a great young man, and we do everything together. And he and I used to bench press. Now get this, I'm 70 years old at that time. I was bench pressing 360 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
360 pounds, you said?
Yep. Yep. Yes, sir. I used to have people at the gym that would gather around me just to see if I could do it. It was funny.
I'm sure.
Sort of the ego thing for me, if you know what I'm saying. But
There
yeah.
you go.
But,
Whatever it takes,
and
you
let me
keep
say
doing
that.
it. You
Yeah,
keep
let me
going.
say this. I've actually got back in the gym last week for the first time in 3 years. So I felt
Wow.
so much better. Now I can't do any weights heavy. I think I went up to 60 pounds or something. But it's not about the weight. It's about the movement. Got to get the motion going, and that's what we're trying to
Absolutely.
do. So it's yeah. I've done things I wouldn't think I'd do. If I could skydive one more time, I'd be happy. But I'm afraid that's probably out of the picture.
So maybe that should be our goal, to get you on a plane,
I'd
to
love to.
skydive.
I probably have to get the shoulders fixed first, though. The
Okay.
shoulders are not. They're still
We'll look at the
stiff.
shoulders whenever it's time to do that for sure. I'm sure we could help you with that. Even though
Okay.
you had surgery, we could still help you, most likely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what about tremors? Do you have any tremors due to the Parkinson's?
It comes and it goes. My left hand is a little bit worse than my right, but it's like when I'm driving my car, and I hate to admit it, I had a 2016 California Special Mustang that was like a show car. And being as young as I am, I couldn't get in and out of it too good anymore, so I wound up selling it and got me a new Bronco. So, but when I hold it a certain way, my hand will shake a little bit, but I can stop it. That's the cool thing about it. It doesn't keep on and on. If it starts
Okay.
shaking, I can just hold it, and it'll stop.
Do you find it coming less or happening less now after your treatment than it did before your treatment?
Yeah, if anything, it'd be a little bit less. Like I say, it's never been a big issue. People don't realize I have Parkinson because I don't shake that
Yeah.
much. But it's just, and I tell everybody, there's 3 parts to Parkinson. It's the shaking, it's rigidity, and it's the balance. That's the things you got to think about. And the sad part is to think about the 80% of the people that do pass away with Parkinson's because of a fall. It's not because of anything else. It's just they lose their balance and fall and
Correct. Most
get
people
in.
don't know that.
Yeah, I do my research, brother.
Yes, you do. I'm happy to see that, and I'm happy to hear that you're back at the gym as
Oh
well.
yeah, I'm tickled to death. I went to a different gym because I couldn't go back to the original one because I was too ashamed I can't do nothing.
Wow. Oh, so you went to a new one.
Yeah, I went to a
You were
new one.
afraid you were going to let them down. No, I'm sure just by seeing you at the gym, it's motivating. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
And you look like you still have muscle mass.
No, I've
after all
lost
these
about
years?
35 pounds since I had my shoulders done, so I've lost a lot, but I'm still healthy. That's like I say, taking care of my body the way I have my entire life is really paying dividends now. Like I
There
say,
you go. Yes.
the blood. Let me say this: when they took all the vials they did of blood, when I got my results back on that Friday before I left on Saturday, the doctor told me, he said, Mr. Watson, he said, I have not seen blood work this good from a young person, much less somebody in their 70s. He said, that is phenomenal. He said, take vitamin E and vitamin D. He said, that's about the only thing I can do for you. So I thought that was pretty good.
Vitamin E
Well,
and vitamin D.
yep.
That's it.
I go every 6 months to my regular physician to get a physical, and he does the blood work and all that stuff, and everything was in limit. I've always had low cholesterol. Uh, I think my cholesterol this past time was 154, which it's supposed to be through 200,
Oh
so that's
wow.
pretty good. But the ratio's never been real good. But now that, and I don't know that it's because of the stem cell, but I'm going to say that it is. Even the high and the good and bad cholesterol, the balance between the two is normal again, and I haven't seen that in years. It's probably
Wow.
15
That's
years since I've seen the good and bad, you know,
yeah.
cholesterol be in line. So
Amazing.
that's saying a lot. And have a blood pressure of 116 over 64. That's pretty darn good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, that's motivating.
Yes, it is.
Um, awesome. And so we're 7 weeks out. Yes, progressively you should feel differences or improvements up to 6 to 9 months post treatment.
Good.
Okay.
That'd be
Um,
tickle me to death. And if I see more improvement over the next few months, I'll be the happiest man on earth.
Amazing. How likely are you to recommend our clinic, the treatment that you did with us, for a patient that's kind of on the fence with the same condition as you?
Well,
One to ten. One to ten,
actually,
I
I
should.
already have. I have breakfast every morning with a group of older guys, and I'm one of the young ones there, so you can see how old they are. But a couple of them have Parkinson, and one of them's pretty
Okay.
bad. And I gave him y'all's address, I got your web page, all that stuff, and I told him, I said, dude, I said, you need to go. If you and he's young, he's actually younger than I am. He's about 3 years younger than I am. He just
Okay.
with his struggles, he looks a little bit older, but I told him, I said, you need to go.
So one
Absolutely.
to ten, how likely are you to recommend us to a friend?
No doubt there'd be a 10. Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay. Anything else you want to add to somebody that's kind of on the fence of moving forward and needs that last minute reassurance from a patient that's been through the experience and maybe a patient that is going through the same thing as you who has Parkinson's?
Well, the thing about it is, like I said, my son is really huge in all this medical stuff. I mean, he like to flipped out when I told him I had the HND plus. He said, "That's what I've been trying to get." And I said, "Well, you can't get that in the United States, son. I said, it's illegal." I said, "But it works." But the funny thing about it is, David, they take portions of the HND plus and use it for other things. They just won't let you use the HND by itself. But I'd say to anyone, if you're considering it, do your homework. Check with other people because there's plenty of people that can have it done.
Absolutely. Okay. Um, you're talking about the NAD plus.
Yeah, A&D. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
NAD, NAD plus, NAD
Yes.
plus, yeah. Yeah. NAD plus is great.
Sorry about that. I said it wrong.
No worries. I was thinking about it. I picked it up on the. I just wanted to confirm with you. That's what I thought you were referring
Yeah,
to.
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we do NAD plus as well here
Yeah,
with stem cells.
that
Um,
made a difference.
okay, great. I'm very happy to hear this from you, and I'm excited to see what's to come for you as well, Randy. Thank you so much for doing this. It means a lot, not just to us as a clinic, but to future patients. Because some patients really can use these treatments. They just need that, hear it from somebody else.
Yeah, a lot of people are skeptical. I mean, a lot of people are. I mean, I mean this in no negative way, but what they do in the United States is way different what y'all do. And what y'all do is first class. What we do is I don't even know that I could call it second class. It's just not the same. It's not even close. I mean, they want to take these stem cells out of your stomach or out of your chest and get them processed. And like I told a friend of mine, he's 62. I told him, I said, Larry, I said, you're still getting 62-year-old stem cells. I said, when you
Correct.
go there, you get the very richest, deepest, strongest stem cells you can get. And they're new. They're not 62 years old. So there's big differences. Big difference.
Correct. Very big difference. And if you're gonna do it right. Do it right the first time.
There in my life. I
Yeah.
ran my own business for 35 years. I do embroidery and screen printing and promotional products for corporations. Dole Fresh Vegetables, one of my big customers, a couple more. But, if you're going to do it right. That's my theory in life.
There you
Quality
go.
and service at a fair market price.
Correct. We try to make the treatments as affordable as possible without affecting the quality at which we want to offer these treatments at. We go above and beyond in the laboratory. We have an entire team of scientists here that really try to make these treatments as effective as possible. Okay.
Well, like I say, I have no complaints. I mean, from the time I landed at the airport to the time I got home, it was first class all the way. Absolutely.
Thank you, Randy. I guess we can wrap up over here. So Sophie, are you here with us? Yeah, she should be here. There she is. Okay. All right, sounds good.